What sparked your own passion for music as a boy?
My father, I remember being 9 years old and seeing that piano come into our living room. My dad was so excited. Our next door neighbor introduced Fats Domino and Little Richard and that to my dad, and my dad loved the music, and that's where it started from, on that piano, and just watching my dad teach himself. And I was inspired by music through him.
What was your early career like?
Well, actually, I had some bad experiences. That's Father's Journey to the Grammys, the book that I wrote, is that's what it's all about, is that my early career and how I got started in music. I ended up in East Los Angeles on a park bench. I had ran away from home, and I had lost my father at the age of 9. 6 months after that piano rolled in, and he was killed in a car accident. And I ended up in East Los Angeles, where my music career started from. When a young man who became a longtime friend, Adrian, saw me on a park bench, took me home, and he just so happened play in a band. And I played a little guitar, and he taught me how to play bass, and they had a bass player that wasn't on time. And so, the timing,
Yeah.
I was there at the perfect time, and, his dad took me in and kind of raised me for a short period, and I went to Garfield High School, and that's where my music career started from.
When did you boys first become involved with the music?
Well, I would say when the day they were born. I had a plan, if I ever had any sons, that I would nurture their careers and that, and I got them into theatrical, doing commercials and movies, and their music became part of their curriculum. And from there, I started nurturing, teaching them. And when I couldn't teach them anymore, I got the best of the best, to come in and teach them as well. And one day, I came back from a gig that at the time I was, I had my own groups doing major hotels in Vegas, and one day, my oldest son, Bobby Ross, asked me, "Hey, Dad, when am I going to go into the studio?" And I told him, "Well, when I think you're ready." And anyway, I came back from Sacramento. I had got him some drum machines and some keyboards and stuff, and he had 3 songs prepared. And when I heard them, I go, "Okay, we got something to work with." So let's give it a go. We'll see what becomes of it. And anyway, we worked on the songs for about a month and a half, and we came up with some good material, and I decided to give my band a notice, 2-week notice, and that's where we all started from.
So, are they pretty good musicians?
They're great musicians. They're well honored in the industry now. They worked hard. They worked hard from the ages of 4 to where they are now. Absolutely. Actually, Iz became the drummer for Macy Gray for a couple of years, and Bobby, he's been independent, and they became the Avila Brothers, and they formed, and they've been producing great acts like Usher, Mary J. Blige, Shaka Khan, Earth, Wind and Fire, TLC. I mean, the list goes on and on. And as a matter of fact, when we get to that other part of Washington D.C., I'll tell you the rest. But yeah, they are great musicians. I wish that I was so fortunate, to be as great as they were. Yeah.
So how long was it before the Avila Brothers began to produce other people's music?
Well, it started, they came to a point in their life where now they were ready to go on their own. And when they formed, it was actually after the Macy Gray. and Bobby was signed to Warner Brothers, and when they became the Avila Brothers. And back when we were signed with RCA, things didn't work out so well there, so we moved on to Perspective Record. Actually, in the story, it's really ironic because when we left RCA, I was going to go independent. Certain things took place, and so I was going to put the album out on my own. And I just happened to be at the mastering lab, and a call came in right in the middle of our mastering, and it was Terry Lewis. And anyway, I heard Brian Gardner, he was the engineer, and talking about, well, the young kid and his dad are going independent. And so I looked over at him, and he looked at me, and he said, hey, Senior, Terry Lewis wanted to know if you could send him a copy, a DAT of the music. And I go, Terry Lewis, Jimmy Jam? And he goes, yeah. So, man, I looked all over. I said, where did I leave my briefcase? You know, so, and because I had all my videos and all the rest of the stuff that Bobby's done all throughout the years. And anyway, he just happened to call for Karen White stuff. And, you know, Brian sent it. 2 weeks later, I'm signing a deal with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. And that's where it all began. And they started working with Jimmy and Terry after, I guess that was back in '93. And in 95, it came back full circle, so they ended up back with Terry and Jimmy right after the audiography didn't come through. And so anyway, they started producing Macy Gray, and then it led to Shaka Khan and Mary J. Blige and Gwen Stefani and on and on. And so that's what led them to making history, you know, getting their Grammys with Usher. Actually, their first nominee was in 2004 for the Confessions album. They got 9 nominees and sold 15 million global. So that's where it pretty much all began for them.
Who would you say gave your boys their biggest break?
I have to say Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, you know. I can sit here and say, you know, well, of course Pops did, you know, I'm the root, you know. But the ones that actually opened the door to bigger things was Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, you know. He was, Bobby was already known nationwide, you know, because of the New Kids on the Block tour, CC Music Factory and Tony Tone, and all the tours that we did. You know, he developed a fan base of over 5 million. And, but I have to honestly say that Terry and Jimmy had played a big part in their careers today, and they still work together. They're working on Anthony Hamilton today, and they became very close. You know, Jimmy and Terry have a marriage, and that's the way Bobby and Izzy, you know, they have that same marriage, and they've learned a lot from Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. I was so fortunate to be able to work with Jimmy and Terry, you know. When I think back, I used to play their music, you know, and here I'm sitting in the studio with him, you know, like pinching myself, you know, and he's asking me, what do you think, Pops, you know, and no, I owe a lot to them, you know, I'm indebted to them. And that's why the Avila brothers are where they're at, too.
What has been your proudest moment as a dad?
Well, outside of music, I have to say them being born. They became my buddies, you know. I taught them how to fish and hunt and stuff, and, you know, we're pretty much an outdoor family, and that was a proud moment to have some sons and then develop, you know, their careers and put them on a pathway that they made my dreams come true. I mean, you know, they chose music, and they made a proud dad out of me, you know, and I think the proudest moment, I have to say, is that when they received their Grammys, that was an emotional part for me, because to be acknowledged and recognized, you know, as the only Latinos to ever receive Grammys in the urban category, man, that's a big plus, you know, and I'm so proud of them, you know. That's my proud moment too, you know, because you know, they worked hard. They worked very hard throughout their lives and careers, you know, and I'm kind of glad that they stuck with it, because I kind of would have felt bad if, if they chose another, career. It kind of felt like I made them do it. No, that's their passion, and that's what they do. I was encouraged by friends and a partner that became my partner, Duke Burnett. He's in Thailand now. Introduced me to a scriptwriter, Paula, who wrote the script for Moonlighting, Bruce Willis, Cheryl Shepard, I think her name was. Anyway, Duke was working out at Lionsgate, and and that's how he knew Paula. So anyway, I met with Paula in Pasadena, and I was gonna ask her to write the script, but she told me that with true stories, autobiographies and stuff, they can be kind of difficult. But she said, reading your book, she said there's a lot of passion, a lot of drama, a lot of disappointments, and redemption. And she thought that I should write it. So she kind of coerced me into writing the script. And in 2006, we were a week away from shooting, casting. I already had a unit product manager, Randy Turrell, and my casting director, Patrick Cunningham, out of Paramount. And like I said, we're a week away from casting, and what happened, the rug got pulled up from underneath us. In 2006, they had that whole financial breakdown, with the, especially for offshore accounts. Anyway, the movie was put on hold like many other projects because of that. So I decided to go back up to my property and start developing it. And until 3 months ago, I got a call from my ex-security, Manny Pinion, and he told me a guy named Al out of Sony Pictures was interested in my project. At the time, he was working on Criminal Minds, and he was interested. So I gave him all the information, and a week later, my friend here, Ben Munoz, who's now public relations, and we're working together, texted me, and he told me, did you ever think about putting your book and your life story on the screen? And I texted him back, and I told him, well, I was a week away, from, casting. I have a script and ready to go. And I was talking to somebody out at Sony. So we started talking daily, and started listening to him and seeing he was pretty excited, wanted to be part of the project and that. And I came down 2 weeks later, and he was already at work. I mean, he was already setting up all kinds of interviews, and took me to the Las Vegas Latin Awards. And I really didn't expect all the warm welcomes that I received. It was amazing, because I've always kind of been behind the scenes kind of person, and now it's about me, and I'm out in front now, and it was a little strange, but I was so thankful to be welcomed in that. I'm so honored, and Ben has done a tremendous job in putting things together, and putting us in a circle and trying to develop a platform so we can get this movie project out. This is a very inspirational movie, about a young kid who went through some turmoil, and teenager, and as adult. We're not perfect, and that's what the story's about. And there is redemption, there is light at the end of that tunnel, and like Ben said, it's a story that needs to be told. And I've been hearing this from everyone, and that's what we're working on that project. And actually, we're Saturday's another festival, the Tamale Festival in Colton, that we're trying to give back to the community too. So I'm there to speak and talk and about the movie project, and continue to support others as well. And that's what the movie's about. It's all about what we're doing today. Yeah.
And once again, what's the name of that movie?
Well, it's Fathers, and it's based off the book Fathers: The Journey to the Grammys.
What does music do for you that nothing else can?
Well, music was a place for me to bury my troubles in, and it was an avenue, an escape for me, but it became part of my passion. And you know, it was my how would you say? You know, you got to have that same pillow all the time. You know, music was good to me. It blessed me throughout my life. And when I look back, when I first started, which I owe my friend Adrian and others along. In that era of the 60s, there was some great groups out of East LA, you know, when I go back to Tierra El Chicano, and Little Ray was kind of the Michael Jackson of that time, and that's pretty much where I learned everything from, watching him perform, and I took that with me, and my sons wouldn't be there, you know, all these groups. Music was my avenue to where I'm at today, you know. I found comfort in music, and when I got on the stage and performed, it was like I could forget about everything. You know, I was very, and when I could see people dancing and smiling, and that was a great joy for me. And music, what could I say? That's my Grammy, music.